other employees that do the motor vehicle functions and the driver's license functions are following all the confidentiality and all the rules and stuff like that. Our former clerk was the designated person. We just need to update our contract with the Department of Public Safety Motor Vehicle Office, and that would give the new appointee would be the person that would be responsible for contacting them when there was a new employee and making sure everyone had access, or if someone's access expired, that person would be responsible. So that's the contract that is in front of you. It's something that gets signed every so often as well. So we actually are in a perfect spot to designate a new deputy registrar and sign the new contract that the state has sent out that needs to be signed by the end of the month.
Thank you, Emma.
Motion to approve the appointment of city clerk treasurer as the deputy registrars.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded for Emma to be the deputy register. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This next one is about that issue that we mentioned regarding the premium payments. The use of this language, though be it subtle, helps us get around a very big issue. So I recommend highly that the city council consider amending the language to reflect as it's written here.
So that's setting the maximum of, I mean, that's what it's for, right?
Right.
I'll motion to approve. Go ahead, Amber.
I'll motion to approve amending the language of Article 5 of the non-union personnel contract.
Second.
Motion has been made and is seconded to amend the language in Article 5. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This next one is kind of cool. It's for the little drive-through restaurant there on the main street. We have the opportunity to acquire this. It's been fully tax forfeited. Previously, when you look at your list that I provided from the county, it was in the taking process. It has been taken. So we have the ability to acquire it. It should be almost close to free. And so with your permission, I'd like to ask the Board of Commissioners to start the process in giving this to the City of Appleton.
Absolutely, with the intention, we're gonna try to resell it at a low price to add another business in Appleton, you know.
We have a buyer.
Great.
Yep.
Yep.
That's excellent.
Another business is exactly what I think all of us are hoping for.
Yep,
Yes.
correct.
I'll motion to allow that the city administrator take the necessary steps to acquire parcel number 22-0921-000.
I'll second that. Go ahead, Amber.
Motion has been made and seconded to let the city administrator do the necessary steps to acquire the parcel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
MediaCom. It's time to sign the franchise agreement again. Asking permission for me to sign it on behalf of the city.
We've already talked about MediaCom in the past and recent months, haven't we? They announced a rate increase. Other than that, is there any changes that you can find?
Nope, I mean, there is a very big discussion and expertise that I possess about broadband versus being a franchise community, but that is a long-term thing. If you guys are interested as a city council to learn more about going broadband at this point, just let me know, and I'll put together something with Christy from the RDC, because there are options. But if we sign this, we're together with them for that next year.
1 year?
I think it's actually 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
And our options are fairly limited right now. Is that correct, or
Yep.
completely limited, I guess we could say?
Well, that's kind of like, you know, when you're in economics, they teach you that monopolies are inefficient. However, when it comes to certain services, you know, MediaCom, Time Warner, all of the cable providers are their own little monopoly. doesn't make us comfortable,
Right.
but the residents seem okay with this.
Yep.
I haven't read through the last terms here.
Our very wise attorney is pointing to this franchise shall be for a term of 10 years.
10 years, sorry, I read the wrong, without the zero.
So what does that do to us for possible broadband and grant dollars from state and federal if we sign a 10-year agreement?
You can't start looking until then.
You can't start looking for the 10 years?
Until then, and the way that it works in this state, again, I've only been here 9 months, it goes to the Department of Economic Development and Employment, deed, and there is a process to it. It's not an easy process.
When does the MediaCom contract need to be signed by?
I don't know. Generally, by this time, you guys have had it signed already.
But if we've only do it every 10 years,
So this time, 10 years ago.
okay.
Isn't that a long term for a contract?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm going, what I know about broadband is we have Federated and they can't get enough grant dollars to get into the city.
Mm-hmm.
And if something were to change and we signed a 10-year contract, that would be unfortunate because
I can-
broadband is a lot faster, correct? If I'm not that techie, but.
It is, but it is expensive. So when you're a city that has a lot of other projects, you just gotta, if you want to deploy me to start working on broadband, I will happily do it. But you have a 10-year horizon on your projects as they are now.
Yep.
I can do whatever you want me to do, but I'm just saying,
Okay, I mean, can you ask them for a 5, or why do they have to have 10?
you could table this and I can ask them for it.
Well, I say ask for
I
3
would,
or
I would
5.
like that too, because I bet if you polled the community, everyone would be highly in favor of broadband if we could get it in.
Including in my
Danielle,
household.
Is that a bad ask, or?
You can always ask, you may not
Right.
receive.
Yeah, I don't mind asking.
Man, 10 years, that's a long time.
It is.
I'll be retirement age.
Well, I guess I would like a little more information on this, because
Okay.
1 year versus 10 year, 10 year it's a big commitment. So I would like you to dig a little deeper.
Okay, so I will
Danielle, do
ask
you know,
them
like,
for.
what does Benson have, or,
The city of Benson, I don't know, but we, as a county, got on the broadband grant when it came through. That was probably, 3 years ago now, I
Yep.
bet?
All of our, if you're a block out of Appleton, you can have broadband with
Right.
Federated, and you didn't pay much for it.
Right.
You know, just a monthly, so.
but if you're dumb and not put it in, like one of our neighbors did, it cost him $3,000 to plow it in from the road to his house,
Because he didn't do it when they
because
were
he
doing
didn't
it.
do it when he was supposed to.
Right.
So I don't want to miss that opportunity if it's in,
They're not gonna say, hey, we're gonna say no to you because you didn't sign today. They want us.
right.
So if you're saying, hey, we'll go find out some more stuff, we'll go find out some
Yeah,
more stuff.
do that.
I'd
more
feel good about
comfortable
that.
with Than signing 10-year contracts.
Okay? So table until I get information?
Yep.
Do we got a vote on that on the table, or?
No, we didn't.
We didn't make it a motion,
I
did
don't-
we yet?
No,
Emma? We didn't motion
Where are
that,
we at
correct?
here?
no.
So we can just go forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving on to the COVID-19 plan then, or?
Yep, so the library has a set of hours than we do, and we have a really nice preparedness plan, but they need a couple of adjustments. And this is what I allowed her to do until we meet today, so that you can make it part of the plan. So essentially, this allows them to maintain social distancing using deliverables that they're using now, curbside deliverables and other things, and they also use masks in there, but during the times when they are in operation.
Yeah, makes sense. And Cindy is on board with this plan, obviously?
Yes, this is Cindy's request.
Oh, this is Sydney's plan?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, it's my plan. She made a
Well,
request, and I
right.
turned it into a plan.
got it. A motion to approve amending the city COVID-19 preparedness plan to include library considerations as presented by staff.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the city COVID-19 preparedness plan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
you guys have the transactions. We've had a very long night, so I won't itemize anything here, but there was nothing above the purchase policy. Everything was within the normal purchase policies. We have unrestricted general fund balance of 2.1220002.15, and a restricted fund balance of $1,070,152.77, for a total balance of $3,192,154.92. We're in a fairly stable position. If you have any questions about these, do not hesitate to speak with me about it, but you can keep this and digest it, which segues into COVID. So there's this funding that's available. So the CARES Act has allocated money to cities, to states, to deploy to its cities and counties, et cetera. We have an appropriation, an amount of $102,000, of which we can only use in one particular way at this point, which is for a disinfectant that we're doing right now. I submitted an application through FEMA for 75% of it. 25% is for us to pay. We can use those funds for that portion. But in terms of what else we can use it for, it's very limited. In speaking with League of Minnesota Cities and with Governor Waltz, he was on that meeting that I was a member of. They're not moving to cover revenue losses. They're moving to cover whatever you spent to prevent COVID or to improve in protection against COVID, but not revenue losses. So for example, if next year we have $150,000 less of tax returns because of this COVID impact, they're not compensating you for that. So this is why it's wise to try to level fund this year as much as possible and try to get things off of the levy as much as possible. And that's what we're all struggling with in our bellies. But we'll get there. You know, I want to communicate hope to you guys. Everything that's happened here today is what's supposed to happen. So that's where we stand with the COVID funding. The CARES Act has been fantastic for our hospital and given them a lot of leeway. As a city, we don't have that leeway and we don't have that level of funding. So, you know, thank you, federal government. They have a whole different set of ball games there for why they don't want to transfer that much money direct to the cities. It has to do with OPEB, it has to do with taxes, it has to do with a lot of things. We just don't have the time to get into right now. For right now, what we have is $102,000, of which we could only access 25% of 33, $15,000. But it's there.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Oh, and I wanted to say thank you to Pioneer Land Library Services. They anticipated this, and so they've asked the same amount of money from us of last year. They usually go up a little bit. They said no. I spoke with one of us, said thank you very much, because we were gonna ask you.
Right.
So
Yep, that's,
wherever we can get help, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Oh, I think it's Amber's turn.
Amber, you're up.
I'm here. I'll make a motion to adjourn, Wednesday, July 15th, 2020 regular council meeting.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to dismiss the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're closed. Thank you, everybody.
Amber's